computer. All right, sweet. All right, you guys, we're gonna rock and roll tonight. I'm gonna go with a little different flow tonight because we want, and I want to dive into some things with you and get us just thinking a little bit deeper tonight. I've been really dwelling on some things along the same lines of what we've been on for the last several months. But I need you guys to continue to dive in with me tonight. So I'm going to be asking you guys some questions as we go on. So dive in with me as we're going here. Um, I want to start with a few wins like we always do, but we're gonna kind of veer off of that a little bit tonight as well. Richard, can you start us off, man? What's a big win that you've had this week, brother?
A big win that I've had
Yeah.
this week,
Yes, sir.
man. I don't know. I feel like um, a big win for me is just not like because I kind of ebb and flow where like I start to think like, man, like I don't feel like I'm growing or I don't feel like I'm gaining enough or sometimes I look in the mirror and I'm dissatisfied still, but
Yeah.
then there's times where I'm like, holy crap, like when I look at the numbers, I'm like, oh, well, or I look at the progress photos, I'm like, oh, well, those aren't lies. And so, yeah, it's, for me, it's always just like a daily win. Like when that alarm goes off at like 4 in the morning, when I want to go, no, I just go, damn it. Okay, let's go. So,
Okay, cool. So I want to ask you my next question into that. With that, like you're working towards a goal. And every one of us in here has these goals, and we've talked about it. Even if we think about locking into just October with a few of the action steps that we talked about in the questionnaire, right? That you guys are working on for October specifically. So, Richard, like for you, what is it that you want? So you mentioned a couple of things in there, but if you stop and pause and really ask yourself, like, what is it that I want? What do you want, Richard?
what do I want?
Yeah. This is where we're going tonight.
Damn, dude.
Okay, so you don't have to answer this right off the bat, but
Okay.
we're going to dive into a few of these things tonight, and I want all of you to be thinking about that. And I don't mean to be putting anyone on the spot, but we're just going to go through a few, and if we can answer, we can answer. If we can't, we can't. But I want us to be going into this because this is what I'm realizing, guys. This is what I'm realizing is that I'm growing myself because you guys know I only speak on things that I have experience with or that I've experienced. And so that's how I teach, right? I don't want to just teach on something that I claim to know and I don't know and it's not making sense to anybody. So I want it to connect deeply. And so even as I make content, right? Because I make a living off of I have to market to connect with people, right? And then in
You
order
got
to
me
be
with the
able to,
marketing.
yeah, in order to serve you guys and give you guys something that can help you guys get the result you want. And so the piece with that is though, is it's easy. So I'll just speak from my angle. It's easy for me to speak on everything that everybody else wants, right? That's marketing. But at what point does that take away actually from my actual talent or gift or whatever that is? If I'm always thinking about what does Levi want? What does Chris want? What does Jess want? You know what I mean? Instead of being like, this is what I'm experiencing, this is what I want. And when I can actually reflect that out to you guys or anybody else, that it connects. And then you're like, oh, okay, this guy can help me. So this is where I'm coming from. And so, like, really ask yourself that, like, what do I want in this, right? Not what does Jordan want from me, because that's a thing, right? I mean, there's an accountability piece in this where it's like you guys are expressing things to me, and I want to help hold you accountable to that, build you a program so you can reach that. But there has to be an honesty within yourself to yourself in
Yeah.
what you want. Richard, you pointed up
Yeah.
there.
Oh, I think honestly, I want to be like, I want to be hungry again. And I want to be, ambitious, even though I don't really have anything targeted right now. But, like I said, even just in saying like what we had been talking about before, like
Mm,
I'm saying yes to things now that I probably wouldn't have been saying yes to 5 or 6 months ago, a year ago, and these yeses are now rippling into other things that are presenting me with opportunities to say yes or no to, and so on and so forth. And so I think that's what I'm chasing again. Like I just want to. I mean, outside of obviously, of course, I love my wife and I love my kids. So let me give them the honorable mention here.
yeah.
But supposed to say that, right? And I mean it. I do. I'm just saying, like for me though, I want I want something to get me excited again. Even if it's saying yes to something now that I don't want to do, if it causes me to start saying yes to things in the future later that I get to do and want to do, then so be it. Like, like I'm just like I'm stepping outside of my comfort zone, and that's what I want to do,
Good.
even though it's uncomfortable.
That's really good. Awesome.
Like that's what I want.
Yeah, that's good, Richard. Levi, what's a big win that you've had this week, man?
Uh, yeah, big win was going in and working out really early in the morning. I shared with you, I own my own business. We have a really weird kind of work schedule. We're off for 2 weeks at a time, then on the road maybe for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. And
Wow.
yeah, I just committed myself to, yeah, not use. I always, for the last 10 years, I woke up at 4 in the morning to go to work, and I said to myself I would never do that again to do anything. And oh, it's just been, yeah, I go in at about 5 now. Probably do that for the next 2 weeks, and yeah, we'll have time off again. And yeah, it's just a really good feeling knowing I'm getting stuff done right away in the morning. And
Yeah.
then when we're off work, yeah, it's just kind of gives me motivation to have something to do during the day too.
Yeah.
It just makes me feel like I've done something kind of with my life. And like I said, I own my own business. I got other stuff I do too, but this just gives me a very clear head. And
Awesome.
yeah, it's just a lot of motivation. I've honestly have not felt this way in probably the last 10 years, or probably since, yeah, I had me and Jordan, I had you as a trainer before, probably since then. And
Yeah.
I feel really incredible. I do.
Amazing. I love hearing that. And so off of that, outside everything else, if it is even possible, because I know this is hard, what is it that you want for you?
Well, yeah, like that's a good question and a hard question. Like what I want, I always said to myself, I want to, yeah, it's pretty hard to share, but like alcohol and stuff's a big part of my family and stuff, or just what I grew up on. And I just I didn't want that to be a part of my life. I just wanted to not be a part of my life and
Yes.
show my kids and everything what a healthy lifestyle is. And yeah, that's what I want.
Amazing.
I want my kids to, what I want is to see me as an example for them.
Oh
If
yeah.
that answers the question, kind of. I don't,
That's
but
amazing.
yeah,
No, this is all you, man. That's amazing. I love that.
I just want to be an example for my kids.
Yes. Yes. Let's go. That's huge. Chris Gonzalez, what's a big win you've had this week, man?
It's early yet.
Oh, you
Uh,
got
I don't know. It's been difficult. As you know, my wife's father's health is um, hanging in the balance. So um, a lot of emotion and stress have been concentrated on my wife and her family. Um, but when I did purchase a um, raising standing desk. So, and that was on my list of things for October.
Yeah,
I haven't put it together yet, but I have it. So
cool.
that's a step forward to that. And then we'll get that walking pad treadmill thing
Yes.
here so I can, I do work from home and uh, forget to move. So I've been trying to get up every hour. And I have a little stepper here that I get on and
Yeah,
try to step for about 5 minutes at a time.
good.
So small, manageable goals is what
Yes,
I'm trying to
good.
keep ahead of me.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about, man. Step by step. What is it that you want, man?
Um, I want to get to a point where I have the healthy lifestyle that I don't have to think too much. It just comes naturally, and um, be able to have the confidence in my own skin to do whatever I want, whenever I want, without worrying about um, my self conscience, you
Yes.
know. And I got to keep up with my son because he's going to be turning 19. He's bodybuilding, and I need to make sure that I'm stronger than him for the next 10, 20 years.
Oh, yeah, exactly right. I love it. I mean,
So,
here's the thing. I mean, we're gathering up some of these things and we're gonna put them together. I want to hear one more. Dina, if you can, I'd love to hear from you. What's a big win that you've had this week?
Honestly, remembering to be on this call, like remembering to check the app, like the world is busy and loud and
Mm,
um yeah, like so it kind of leads into what I know your next question is going to be is like what do I want?
yeah.
Um thank God I'm not Richard. I didn't have to go first. Woo, woo. Uh but I mostly want to start choosing me again. And I'm realizing that I don't know that's something I've ever done. Um, because when you work in healthcare, like it's always about who you're helping, it's always about who needs you next, it's always about your staff. Like it's really easy to just live for everybody else and just working through not feeling selfish, being like, nope, it's important for me to choose me. So
That was amazing.
Yeah.
And it leads exactly in. This is perfect that you said that because it really leads into the point that I want to hammer home tonight. That most of the choices that we make, and this, hear me correctly on this, most of the choices we make in life actually aren't even for ourselves. And that's not necessarily wrong, right? Like if you have a heart for people, like I get it, but there is a time where the people that are getting us aren't even receiving what they could receive from us at our ability and at our full potential because we don't do anything for us. We never choose ourselves. We never actually think about the question of what do I want? And I got posed this question earlier this week as I was like working through some things on like taking next step with my business, with my life, and really just continuing to try to like, even what Richard said of like feeling hungry again for these things, right? And this person asked me, what if it's not about them? And I was like, oh, let that mess with me for a while, like, but that's the question is, okay, if I make the decision of what if it's not about connecting with somebody on a piece of content and I post what's actually me and I actually talk about what I'm thinking about and and let that actually serve somebody and help somebody versus me just always trying to help somebody. Do you see the shift, the slight shift? It's not big, but there is a slight shift in that of actually becoming aware enough within myself to be myself, which goes into the next piece. Because for me, which is like creating content and doing these things, for you guys, it's other things in your life. So you have to hear a little bit through my story and how I'm trying to connect and place it into your life, your job, your scenario with your family, whatever that is. and apply that. And so if it's not, if you ask yourself, man, what if it's not all about them? And if I chose to do what was right for me, would I grow at a capacity that would automatically serve the people around me at a greater, in a greater way? I believe it would. It's we can really tiptoe that line of everything we believed in the past of, oh, it sounds a little conceited and arrogant. And so hear with your heart that that is not where I'm coming from. You know that where I'm at with this is very much of, if you continue to be authentically who you are, you become a light in the world that the world actually needs. And so we can get into this place of, man, I'm not even sure how to be me, because we hear so much, like what Dina said, like, I'm choosing when I work in this and I'm hearing this and I'm always choosing other people. It's the same way in everybody else's life, depending on where you work or what you're consuming. We hear everybody else's opinion. We see everybody else acting on what they act on. We see everybody else do their thing. And we forget, have I ever really done my thing?
Oh,
And you kind of have to ask, that's for you to ask yourself, is like, what is that thing that is me? What do I actually think about that? Like, what's my heart say? We've been on this, right? The heart mind coherence thing lately. We've been on that, as a man thinks in his heart, that's how he is. We've been on that renewing of our mind piece. All of that ties in then to this piece where it's like, okay, have I done that? Have I actually taken a break from listening from everything else? That's why I am also careful about always feeding like an opinion to you guys, and like to share just some of my experience and then being like, you need to ask yourself this, because you guys don't always just need another opinion and or another like quote unquote fact, from me. I want to always encourage and push and challenge you guys to be you and be the best version of you. And the best version of you is just being you. It's not like chasing this higher level you. We use that terminology of personal development, all those things. But really what that means to me, to make my language clear to you, is just continuing to grow in our awareness, grow in our consciousness of who we actually are. How, for me, it's how God actually views me. And then actually being like, oh, okay, like I can go into that versus always just hearing, and never actually being. And so I just want to continue to encourage you guys to pause, turn off the noise of the other stuff. You know what I mean? Like, take a minute from scrolling social and be like, dude, I need to actually sit with myself and be like, what do I believe about that? And when you start asking yourself, what do I believe about that? You're going to actually start questioning some of the things that maybe you believe. Because at some point, all of a sudden, you're going to be like, oh, actually, like, where did that come from? That actually just came from my parents, which they got it from so and so, and they got it from so and so. Like, but I've never actually stopped and asked myself, like, why do I believe that? Though that's the challenging piece. But if you find yourself in a consumption in your mind, a little bit of back and forth, or struggling with the pieces of, tying it into fitness and health, is okay, I hit snooze again 6 times this morning and I never got done this morning what I said I was going to do. Or crap, I went and drove through the drive through again when I had the meal prepped at home and I said I was going to stick to it. Right. So we can apply it to these normal things. But we have to ask ourselves within that, like, why am I choosing that? And oftentimes it's just because we didn't peel the layer back of like, oh, why did I choose that? Why did I act that way? Why did I feel this way? And it's because we don't know ourselves. We're only listening to everything else we've ever heard versus what's being spoken into our heart about us, because we just don't know ourselves. It's like, it's really, really like that. Harold, saying yes to the unknown may be scary, but it's a fear we can grow and draw strength from as a lesson. Yes, dude. If it's not about others, I want to Sorry, I want to like what I see again in the mirror. Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly. Marie, that's so good. And to connect with you on that, like I had asked myself that really too, of just like, even when creating content to connect with people, of just like, man, like, am I, we just being real? Like, how am I being myself? Are we being, even when we chase our goals or when we set our goals, like, are you setting a goal because that's what it sounds good to you, to me on? Like, does it sound good to your trainer, Jordan, that I set this goal like that? Like I want you guys to be super real when you fill out the forms and when you fill out those things, because the more honest you can be with yourself, that's even the more you can help yourself, but even the more I can be like, yeah, yes, go, like keep going. Because even like what Richard said months ago is like, you got, 2 months into the program and you're like, dude, I think the honeymoon phase is over. It's like, yes, that's exactly right. There's these phases, right, where it feels good and you're flowing and you're excited, and then there's a phase where you're like, man, I want to feel excited again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually a really good thing. We'll close on this. It's that piece when you're climbing and you get to that peak point and you can see, and think about anybody, if you've ever been to, like, you've been to the beach or you've been on the mountains or you've gone on vacation and there's this badass viewpoint and you get up to the top
Oh,
and
Tennessee.
there you go. Yep, find your spot right now. And you can see
Yeah.
that view and you love it. You're like, dude, I could sit here every day with my coffee. I could do that. But the reality is on day like 6 or 7, you're in that spot and it's not the same as it was on day 1. It's just not. Like if you stay on the peak, the view gets old.
Yeah.
And so what do you have to do? Like you
Find,
have to continue. You have
find
to
new levels.
yeah, man. And so it doesn't mean that you drop down. We always visualize it as like peaks and valleys because that's a belief we've always been told. But what if it was peak to peak? What if it's actually glory to glory and it's peak to peak and we skipped over the valleys and we started actually believing the things that we were like, the things maybe we've read in the past or things that we've heard in the sermon that we've actually never thought about what it actually means. But if we go from view to view and our perception changes of every moment that I'm in is the experience I actually need right now in order for myself to grow. Like if it starts to change like that, then we can get super patient in every moment and be like, man, what am I supposed to be learning right now? This moment's obviously happening for a reason for me. It's happening for me and not to me. Now we escape this victim mentality and we enter into a present moment in life that propels us forward from one peak to the next peak to the next peak. All of that happens because you get present with yourself and you stop hearing mumble jumble from 1,000 different directions to keep you from living a life that's already yours. That's where I really feel like we're all at. Because like we have these little conversations, just the little sentences from you guys I get every week too. The comments in your workouts, the little messages, the check-ins, all things that I feel from you guys. It's not always all the words you say. It's actually some of the feeling and emotion that I'm reading off of you guys as well as you're feeling things out. Like I get hit by all that too. And so like that's where a lot of the stuff comes up for me on these VIP calls. It's just to continue to encourage for you guys to keep going at it. Keep being who you are and to continue rocking. That's what I just want for you guys. Ultimate win for me is you guys being you, authentically yourself. Huge win because that's how the culture gets shipped. I think the community here, everything is to continue for us to encourage one another. And obviously in a digital room like this, it's cool. It's a little harder. You guys start getting in person with people. You guys all start even creating, just like Harold's a great example, like going to the gym and his son's going, and that it's like that connection is meaningful. And so whatever your connections are with people where this is starting to just branch out into these little things, like Paul does the same thing. Like his son hits up their home gym with him. It's like his son and his friends come in there. And it's just like, dude, there's impact happening from that, from these younger guys being in the garage gym, with him. And so all of these things start to just happen in our everyday life, because if we, if we can't help the people that we're just coming in contact with on a day in and day out basis without trying, we're probably just living a dream versus a reality. Like we can actually impact without trying. We can just impact by being us. That's why I'm so huge on you being you. You guys, amazing Wednesday night. 7:26. I want to get you guys off here by 7:30. Any questions I need to cover in the last 2 minutes if you have one? Not. We will party away and crush the rest of our week. You guys, I always love our time spent on here together. If you, like always, want to remind you, if this stimulates some thought, question, response in the next few hours, in the next few days, always make sure to message me so we can continue on the conversation and continue to go deeper in where you're at, all personally and in the group. If you want to comment something in the group page too, on a thought, you're working out tomorrow morning, something hits you from the call, you want to share that, I'm always down for keeping the conversation going. I think it's really healthy for the rest of us too and everybody. So you guys have an amazing rest of your Wednesday night. Crush the rest of the week, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Yep.
See ya.